Oh, bam! Oh, everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir. I will be your host and game master for this episode 84 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play the beautiful paladin Brise. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Good evening, everybody, or good morning, or wherever you're watching. Hope you're excited for some more Karandrin goodness coming your way.
That's right. This is going to be a very interesting episode. Good, as episode 84 was always planned to be. Um,
Yeah,
so
when we first started streaming, Kevin was like, "Okay, Max, one thing we got to do. Episode 84. It's got to be interesting."
that's right. This is the important one. Every 84 episodes, we actually bother to do a good one, and so that could explain our viewership numbers. But still, we're pleased for everyone who is here and watching later. And so we're going to give you a quick recap, and then we're going to plunge right into it because this does promise to be pretty tense. So, as you may recall from last episode, we are hunting a cult. And again, we're Karandrin. In Karandrin, we use a very anthropological definition of cult. This means a minority religion practiced secretly to avoid being persecuted by the established religions. Not necessarily evil. This one seems to be somewhat troublesome. And so they follow the Iron Empress and sort of goddess of death from an earlier pantheon, um, and uh, and we've sort of pieced together that a goblin woman here in this goblin nation named Anleb. She's the most prominent venter in this little town of Balabry. She's a key person in this cult, probably one of the money bags for it, and to stop their cult right in their tracks. The thought was dress up as local priests with the help of some local adventurers. They dress up as local priests and then raid Anleb's house and put the fear of the proper gods in her.
So
And
once a cult doesn't have their wine cellar, they're done for.
that's right. Every cult has the those T-shirts and aprons and things that say it's wine o'clock.
Exactly.
And so yeah, so the thought is to go in, and this woman who's not used to conflict and violence and so on, to surround her with would-be clerics, so apparent clerics of the established faith, and scare the living daylights out of her, get her to confess to the local temple, and provide these guys, Brise and his allies, with a list of all the members, and hopefully sort of shake down this cult and have it dissolve. There's another aspect to this, and that is a goblin in town named Brashla. Max, why don't you fill us in about Brashla?
Yeah, so Brashla is a owner of some prominent brothels in town who is a member of this cult, and is kind of, we've discovered that he is trying to kind of take over the entire operation and use it for his own purposes. And so we're kind of against the clock. We need to do our coup before he does his. And he's already probably caught on to what we're doing, given that when we were at a local inn, we had a kind of encounter with one of his men, one of his goons, and they managed to get someone to send a message back to him. That happened just a few hours ago, I believe. So we're kind
Yeah.
of like, hoping that we can get this done. And then once Brashla finds out, all he would find out is that I'm and me and our dwarf friend Gabris are in some plot related to the cult. So hopefully, we'll execute this cleanly, and no one's name will, or no one's face will be associated with it. So
Right. Uh, we also had a complication. This is less relevant immediately, but there were originally six of these. This was a six-man, six-person team. Sorry for my binariness, but so it was a six-person team, but we actually lost two, and teleporting to the house roof across from Anleb's. We didn't realize the roof was in disrepair, and some of the shingles just came loose, and we lost one adventurer to the fall, damaging um, her enough where she just had to go. And her sister, a fellow adventurer, said, I've got to go take care of my sister. So they're down to a four-man team now. Well, I guess I got my math wrong. It was actually a seven-man team, and now it's a five-man team.
right,
Yeah. Sorry.
the
So
fellowship is shrunk in
yes,
size.
right. Sam and his sister Frodo have.
Broke their kneecaps when
That's right. We also have an unconscious guard outside, and
yeah.
she's going to try to deal with that as well. Um, and um, so
But yeah, we've all been teleported into the room is where we left off on the
right,
second story of this three-story house. Teleported into the room where we're going to
right,
hopefully creep our way to Anleb's room without awaking any servants. And
right. So let's plunge right into it. So you guys have made it into the room. You're all a little rattled from um, one of the adventurers having fallen, and things are already going kind of rough.
mhm.
The fall attracting that guard and so on. So everyone sort of, you guys appear, you sort of gather your bearings, um, and and Gabris, looks at all of you and says, change into your robes, change into your robes.
I'll do that, and also don't down my potion of face change. Use
Okay.
extra precaution here. I'll change my face to just look like one of my friends. I think we did it before, kind of a friend.
Your childhood friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
childhood friend. So because I'm wearing the robe, that's got to be this body type, right? So
Right. Well, no, I was thinking, if you meant like referring to your team as your
oh, no, no,
friends
no, yeah,
loosely. I got you. So yeah, down it goes. It should last several minutes. You'll feel it wearing off a minute or so before it goes, and the others change. It's fairly quiet. Every little creak of a floorboard, you're worried you're on the second floor of this building. The building is very large, narrow, and long. It's about 60 feet wide, but it's about 200 feet long. It's quite a large manor here in the town. The others all change. I guess you're lacking two. Were you lacking two robes? Is that right?
no, we only have 3 robes. Actually, we have one
Okay,
for
so you're set really,
yeah, yeah,
right?
one for
Yeah,
me, one for I wrote it down here. Lorgresh, the dwarf, also one for Haldry.
right,
Yeah, so we'll have at least, and then Gabrus has his own.
right. And you've got your own. So I guess you are still lacking one though, right? Um,
No,
Brella,
oh, I see what you mean. Brellock, yeah. In our group currently, Brellock is left out.
right. Um, so
I pushed
right,
Brellock out the window.
that's right. We're just gonna. So
We'll use
Brella,
him as our our stunt man.
that's right. Brella goes to the door. He listens. Um, um, he gestures for you guys to wait. He murmurs a spell. That goes well. He says, "My arts tell me that there are 5 individuals in the house, more than we expected."
Oh.
Three are unconscious. Two are awake. Um,
Does he know? I ask. Do you know their locations? Like, is one of them Anleb, the conscious or unconscious ones?
if her room is across this hall, down this hall, and on the other side of the building, then she is unconscious.
Right. I think that was her.
Um, Gabber suggests that Brellock stay when they cross. That Brellock stay at the back of the room when you reach Anleb's room, since he doesn't appear to be a cleric.
Right.
To stand at the back of the room and just keep his arts trained on the people who are awake and so on, and keep track of their locations with his magic.
Right.
So they, you guys open the door quietly. Gabrus is leading the way. And now is the tiptoe across the hallway.
Here we go.
It's a creaky floor. That is not good. Definite creaking. Why don't you make your roll?
13.
Yeah, you did about as well as Gabrus, but you're more skilled than Gabrus.
Oh,
He rolled an 11, and he's not good at sneaky sneak either.
As he's walking, he just says, "I'm sneaking."
Exactly. Is it a problem that I practice my symbols when I sneak? I just feel like it's a perfect time. I can hear the music so well; it's so quiet. You guys are like halfway across the floor. There's a hall. It's basically a U-shaped hall, is what you can sense right now. The room of the floor. You guys clearly have made noise. You recognize you've made noise. You've stopped in the middle of the bottom of that U. Okay, her door is at the corner of that U on the other side. You guys have stopped because you've recognized you've made so much noise. Roll for me.
79.
You hear movement at the bottom. And this is a problem I have with role players. I don't know why it happens, but don't make sure you report your information to your team.
Right, of course.
It happens with a group of NPCs, and it happens with a group of NPCs. I don't know why. It's very interesting.
I will say that immediately. Like, I hear something.
Yeah. It's from forward and downstairs. It sounds like someone's coming halfway up the stairs, and then everyone hears a whisper. Male goblin voice. My lady, is that you? I thought you had retired.
Yes, I
am. No, that's the. Yeah, everyone looks at each other.
Just be quiet unless he comes back.
Haldry makes an effort to sneak past the rest of you. He's got his cutlass drawn. Gabrus in the lead gestures him back and shakes his head.
See, I'm thinking I could put this guy, do a sleep spell, but he's on the stairs. I don't want him to fall like off down the stairs.
Right, and sleep spells are a natural sleep, and you have to always keep that in mind. If they're holding a glass and you put them to sleep, and it crashes, at the same time that this guy falls, it's not as easy to use as you might think. They can be woken up by their own fall, as you've suggested.
Right. And we do have charm though, so I will. I can
start prepping that.
on hand. Yeah, I'll start muttering the words.
Gabrus is clearly preparing a spell as well.
I will wait to see what his spell is.
Sure. Well, but you can
He
keep
probably
prepping
won't
yours.
fumble his. Yeah, yeah, he probably won't fumble his.
Roll for me.
75.
You wonder if you should charm and lip. Takes away the fear thing, but it wouldn't take away the shame thing.
Right.
Also, as you're prepping this spell, you need to tell me what level you intend to cast it at, how much power
Oh,
you put into it.
at level 4. You know, if this is a servant who just woke up, I don't expect regular level. That's a good idea. If our intimidation doesn't work,
Or cast it at the beginning. There's something you can mention to these guys as soon as this danger has passed.
sure. Yeah, I'll bring up the idea.
So, Gabrus continues muttering. He looks back at you guys and gestures you down. And so he crouches down and he actually knocks on the wood. Haldry is near and grabs Gabrus and, what are you doing? Gabrus knocks his hand away and continues to mutter. Again, voice and steps now coming up. Roll for me.
11.
Yeah, you're baffled. You're like,
Yeah, I guess he wants to attract him up to do some spell on him. I don't know.
and you're like, because of the stairs.
Right. He
Up
wants him
there.
off the stairs. Yeah.
And for influence magic, touch is best. Touch is best.
Oh, interesting.
And even short range, 1 to 10 feet is very effective. Touch, crazy effective. Ma'am, there is no doubt of a sword being drawn downstairs. Not a servant, clearly a guard. Comes up the way, is comes into sight. Of course, your sight being the worst. And Gabrus goes to grab him. Misses. Rolled a 5.
Ooh.
Still casts the spell. The guy is drowsy. Didn't quite work. Slumps. Haldry jumps forward. Grabs the cutlass out of the guy's hand. You've got a charm spell ready.
Yeah, I'll let that fly.
All right, roll it. That sounds like good news.
What happens when you fumble a charm? Roll an 8.
Man, if you had like,
you know what?
2 more rounds.
This feels like a miracle roll time.
Okay.
Maybe instead of the spell fumbling loudly, causes some beneficial effect.
Okay. I am fine with that. Roll it up.
Let's see if I roll on 100. Everybody, it comes true. That's a 40. Okay.
That's really close, actually. A 40 is really close. I'm serious. If you look at the dice.
Oh, that's right. Because
if you're one click away
from.
You're one facet away. Yeah. So now, 12 exhaustion, 12 damage. Oh, not wow. 05 for loud. So just a brief crackle and flash. He hits the floor. Haldry just puts the cutlass to his throat. And it is very effective. The guy is freaked out, and
Calgary, you stay there.
they pat him down for daggers, anything like that. They find the dagger at his boot. They take it away. Brelock has taken sort of stayed back, right? So he can't be seen that he's not wearing robes.
Right.
Haldry thinks quickly on his feet, or her feet? Excuse me, her feet. Haldry says, "We come in the name of Astalin," whispering urgently to him. "We know of the wrongdoing being done here. And if you care for your health, to say nothing of your soul, you will flee and never come back to this town." Gabrus leans in and says, "In all likelihood, this home and everything in it will be seized by the temple. You'll have no employment to come back to. Do you work for Lady Anleb or do you work for Brashla?" "Both, father, both," he says in Goblin. He says, "You've become entangled in a foul cult. Brashla is fouler than you know. Take your family and go. This night, find work elsewhere. Disturb not a soul, warn no one." And they lift him up roughly, and he goes down the stairs.
Nice.
Wow. All right, well.
Intimidation is powerful when you got a lot of people.
And you're caught unawares, and so you're not really thinking.
Yeah.
We'll say they also got his name, force his name from him so they can follow up. That would make sense. They should have everyone listens for him to go. He's clearly making an effort to be quiet. You hear the front door and you hear it close, and then you hear running on the street.
Nice. Okay. I'll mention to everybody, whisper that well, I'll whisper to Gavris really, and it's do we want to try charming Enleb when we first encounter her, or do you think we'll just go with intimidation straight out?
He says, "Charm will not last as long as the fear. So I'm afraid we will have to go forward with the plan as it is." Um, uh, so he motions to Haldry, the door. She creeps over. Brelock, our human, um, goes to now this broader. The first hallway you came to, the first arm of the U was a narrower hall. This one is a much larger one, and clearly leads down to a sweeping staircase that must end at the foyer.
Okay.
So it's sort of a grand entrance, so she can be led up every night and so on. So Brelock takes station there. actually sits on the first stair and listens. Um, what does he have? Why did I not roll that? Oh, okay. Takes out a rod. That's his magical instrument and is waiting. Um, Haldry moves very quietly to the door and begins picking, checks the door and then begins picking the lock.
Oh, I would if I knew he was going to do that, I would have offered him. I have an item that'll help with that.
Well, you didn't know.
Okay, that's just making sure. Yeah, I don't know if it was something I missed, but yeah.
She's clearly getting frustrated, so you may offer it now.
Now is when I take out an onyx ring from my pouch. I need to remember the exact stats on it. 1 sec. Very nice onyx ring gifted by Tegriv. Transforms into a +20 magic lockpick set. I said maybe this will help a little better.
So you just transform it for him.
Yeah.
She looks at it, and it's like, it's better than mine, and gives it another go. Damn, it rolled the exact same thing, an 11. It's like, hands it back to you, says it's too fine a lock. Gabber says, we'll see what magic can do then, and begins muttering a spell. He takes a very long time with it. You guys are just nervous.
Yeah.
Roll to prevent yourself from pacing.
50.
Not great. So you do a quick round, but it's quiet. He casts.
I need one of those little poppers, like.
That's right.
But they're really loud.
Yeah, it's Karandrin. Popper technology is very crude, and so it's actually a rat that you just squeeze, and it just screams. Exactly. There's a flash above the lock, and it clicks open. He motions for you guys to go in. He leaves the door cracked, and they whispered. He whispers to Brellick, keep your eyes open. Brellick says, "To hell with that, my spells." And you guys go in. Roll to sneak to the bed.
Okay. 8. What is with my rolls this session?
You're doing great. Definite noise. She stirs, clearly coming to. Haldry leaps, closes the distance in crazy fast fashion. I mean, goblins are fast, but
yeah,
she is fast. And clamps a hand down on her mouth.
Wow, good idea. I forgot. Like, she could probably scream out.
What are you gonna do? So she jumps.
Well, I'll let her. Yeah.
And Gabrus is, closes the distance quickly. What are you gonna do?
I'll kind of follow them. Position myself out of their way, though.
Your face is changed. I mean, there's no
out of their way. As you mean, I don't know if Gabrus has something he's going to do immediately, right? I want to be in his way. So
talk about your posture, your presentation.
Okay. I'll be hands in my pockets. No, I'll be standing kind of like as high as I can, as straight as I can.
Weapon?
Yeah, I'll have my hand on my short sword. I guess if it's under the robe, I'll fold the robe over it so I can.
Sure. You don't want it out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take it out if others are.
I mean, this is the intimidation moment.
That's true. This is the super. A lot
Gabrus
of
whispers a spell of light. The light fills the room. Uh, and and um, she does scream through her hand, but it's clamped so tightly you just get the muffled scream. The And Gabra says, "We know of the evil that is being performed in this house and throughout the town. Astalon will not permit such evil. You will rise from this bed and immediately write down everyone that you know is involved. And tomorrow you will go to the temple and you will confess, giving these names to the fathers, to the priests, and then you will go to Lady Miagral and you will confess your sin to her. And you will report that list of names to her, and you will accept her judgment and the judgment of the priests. Now rise and be quick." She is sobbing, freaked out.
nice.
Um, it's one of those things in role playing, right? That
Mm-hmm.
like, so you are only level 10, probably now a level 11, right? Who knows what level Gabbers is, but you guys have about the same skill in combat
Oh, interesting.
because, he studied elsewhere.
Right.
His concentrations had to be in other things.
I do like that. Diverse characters.
Yeah. So Gabbers pulls her roughly to Y'all's side of the bed, away
Right.
from Haldry, toward the desk. Um, you can lay hands on her if you wish, if
No,
you
yeah, I'm
want to.
waiting to. I have some questions I do want to ask her, but I'm kind of waiting for the right time. Let's gather herself and write down these names. That's the most important thing.
Um, um, the so she complies. Roll for me.
28.
She's shakingly writing a list. You don't have any sense about whether she really intends to keep her word or not. Actually, give me another roll. We'll make that your intuition roll and make this one your perception roll.
95.
Roll again.
43.
Uh, you believe wholeheartedly that she is done with this cult.
Okay, yeah.
She is scribbling the names. If there's something he can't read, Gabber says, like, again, rewrite that one. The list is surprisingly short.
Okay.
There's only 7 individuals listed on there. Brashla is listed. Ichar is listed. Um, um,
Is Ordia on that list at all? The name Ordia?
who was Ordia?
Ordia was what Gabber suspects to be the real power behind the cult, right? The real leader.
It is not on there.
Okay. I will. I'll take the time. I'll step in and say, "Who is Ordia?" We've heard they're a member of this this organization too. Why didn't you write them?
Hold nothing back.
Yeah.
My lady, I know nothing of an Ordia. I know nothing. I have heard the name mentioned at our meetings, but I assumed they were just talking about a friend. I know nothing about an Ordia.
Who mentioned who mentions their name the most often? Who brought it up?
And um, they, he, she points to um, a name. It is Daloon, and she says, to my shame, she is a young initiate at the temple. Ordia, Ordia was mentioned to her by Brashla.
Okay.
Gabrus, almost spits in her face. Leans in and says, "You would corrupt the very temple. May have cost this young girl her life."
Okay, easy there, bro. Easy there, Gabrus.
He's pissed.
Yeah, he's
You
pissed.
see his knuckles go white on that mace of his. Um, he says, "For this, you will give all of your possessions to the temple, and you will live a life of penance for corrupting one of Aslan's children." And she sobs. She breaks down.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
having to move papers out of her way so that her tears don't mar her writing.
Right.
Um,
Just let that ink dry.
Gabber snatches her back up against the chair and says, "Quit your blubbing. Let your servants rest in peace, which is more than you will have in this life. Finish the other copies of the list. One for the temple, one for us, so we can hold you to your word, and one for Lady Meagirl." Ravers is mad.
I'll also wanted to ask, how do I word this? I'm curious, like how much she knows about the Iron Empress, and you know, if there's any real power associated with the cult. So I'll ask.
Like, what feats have you seen it perform? That sort of thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Objects of power have been made to appear in our presence. Take them all. And they're in the sitting room in the heavy gold chest. And so she points through to the other corner.
Right.
It would be at the very corner of the house, the back corner of the house. But it's a room that connects her
Right.
bedroom.
I mean, I
So
look at right. I look at Gavris, and it kind of should one of us, two of us go. Like I'll go. Someone else want to accompany me and retrieve
yeah,
these objects.
Howdry joins you as you're walking. There's a light tapping at the door, and Brellick's voice says, "A note has just been slipped across underneath the front door.
Hmm.
What should I do, priests?"
Um, well, if it's a note, it's probably not meant to be read. Well, I say, just wait, a few minutes for whoever to send it to leave, and then we can.
Gabber snaps and says, "To hell with that. Ring your bell pulls. Summon your servants now. You will confess before them. You will give them a sizable um, severance, and you will dismiss them."
Back when priests were cool. Am I right?
I know, right?
They're in the news all the time for.
None of this child diddling. I mean, that was, it's not, it's awkward. Awkward. Um, she pulls the bells. Um, Brelic enters the room, bowing to you each. You're like, oh, he's thinking, really playing it up, right? Like he's just
Yeah.
he may not be in robes, but he's obviously a servant. He's obviously serves the temple and respects the god.
Right.
He says, "Where would you like me?" And Gabber says, "Help them with the chest." Um, he finished the list. He pulls the bell pulls, goes back and finishes the list. A moment later, sleepy um, servants come in. You guys go in. Chest is rather heavy.
Yeah.
It is a very finely made. The chest itself is, probably worth somewhere between 500 and 1,000 gold, you would guess.
Okay.
You guys move it in, guys and gals. The servants stumble in. They are shocked. Gabrus says, "You have nothing to fear. Stand and listen to the words of your mistress, and then you will leave this house."
Damn straight. Yeah.
So she confesses, blubbing. They feign shock. It's
Yeah.
clear to you that they knew something was going on, but didn't have the power to stop it.
Right.
Um, she takes out from a little box underneath her bed. She gives them each 100 gold, and gives them each a ring. Your guess is, with your lifestyle that you used to lead, the ring is worth at least as much as the money.
Oh my goodness.
And she thanks them very tenderly, very genuinely. She thanks them for their service and is sorry that, um, that any of this came to pass and that this is how they have to part ways. She says, gather your things and go. Turns to the guy who is clearly like the butler. So it does turn out that there's obviously, because we're told the servants weren't staying here, but apparently servants do stay here. They stay on the ground floor, apparently. They came from upstairs. They depart.
Obi-Wan is asking who Gabrus is. Gabrus is the kind of the leader of this operation. He was the one I originally met with, and found out we were both trying to stop the same cult. Male dwarf cleric. And the rest of our group are all the adventurers we've hired. Lorgresh, Brelock, Haldry are with us now. So.
Um,
All right. So these servants are. Oh, I know she's talking to the butler now. Yeah.
and so they depart. Gabrus says, "Fetch the note to Brelic. Relic runs downstairs, gets it, comes back up with a ring of keys. He says, "The butler has passed these to me." Um, he says there's another set he has left on the kitchen table. Um, so sorry, I'm trying to fix this thing.
A lot of moving parts, I know. Brise peeks over to see what the note is.
So Gabrus opens the note. I can do this now. So Gabrus nods and says, "It's a warning from Brashla."
Oh, wow. Addressed to...
Anlin.
Okay. Ah, I see. Right, that kind of makes sense because we know that he was on to at least one of Anlib's guards. Well,
So it warns of um, keeping an eye out for um, um, a tall human female and an older dwarf that does match Gabrus's description.
they didn't mention that I was gorgeous. Oh my gosh!
Which means that the guard didn't get a good look at you.
Right, right. That's what I was just thinking.
And was groggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so,
Okay, that checks out.
So he wads up the note.
No, to the chest. If we want to, do we want to try to open that here? Is it big or?
Yeah, it's heavy. It's a large chest.
Yeah, we should try to open that and
richly appointed.
I offer up, like, if I have a bag of holding, just whatever we find in there. Hopefully, we can. That's the way we can get it out of here safely. Karen says, or the guard was gay.
Oh, that's
beautiful female. Ew, I'm never gonna notice that.
Oh, I don't think so.
I feel like it's like me. I can say another guy. It's like that guy is handsome. I'm the furthest thing from gay.
It's the licking your lips that disturbs him. Just so we're clear on that part, the saying it is fine.
When you make that noise, yeah. And it's something's up.
That's right. So he says, "We'll open it here," and gestures, just reaches out to her for the key.
Mm-hmm.
She finds it in the desk and gives it to him. If there's anything foul, we'll save our brothers the effort of destroying. Opens it.
But what if it's a really good magic?
So there's a handful of items in there. They appear to be very ceremonial. None of them appear to be very old. Like you expected, they would really, if they were from the true religion, right, they would have
years ago, yeah,
some mark of age on them. So Haldry takes out a candelabra, a mithril candelabra. That was a double aught for value.
Whew. It burns mithril candles. Just like the biggest waste of money in the world.
Wow. Yeah, it's called, what is that called? Conspicuous consumption is what that's called.
Yeah.
You know, lighting your cigar with $100 bill, you know, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. She touches it to lift it out, and her face changes, and she hands it to you. You touch it. Um, um,
I already have a curse on me. I don't want any more.
well, you can refuse.
No, I'll touch it. I mean, if she's
So
too curious.
it augments prayer. That's the sense that it passes to you, that it augments prayer. And it has the ability to summon something that the magic item refers to as guardian serpents. And you're like, that is so in keeping. And the base of it shows the Iron Empress, her hands reaching up and down along the stem of
Mm.
the base from the base of the candelabra, with her daggers pointed, and the whole base is covered in serpents. And then there is two larger serpents that rise at the ends of the candelabra at the end of the base, their
Wow.
heads. Um, these larger ones have a small frill from the top of their head down, just a little bit. Um, as it's not painted, you can't tell the color of any of the snakes or the frill, um, but it's it's clearly an item of ceremonial value, and you can't help
Right.
but feel this had to be original to the worship.
Right.
I
Yeah, for
mean,
it to be so expensive and so detailed. Yeah.
right. I mean, this thing is worth, I mean, geez, I don't even know how many mithril it would be worth.
Right.
Uh, 5, 10,000 gold, you know?
Gosh.
Um, it's passed around. Um, she is just blubbing, and, you know, he tells her to get dressed, um, and asks Howdrey to accompany her since it's a female, and and says that, you know, given the evil of this item, you're going tonight to the temples. Um, there is a serrated dagger, um, embossed with silver. It also shows um, depiction of the Iron Empress.
Mm.
It's just as well done. It's hard. Again, you're thinking, you're reworking, you're rethinking the fact that these aren't original.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it when you touch it, um, wow. So it's simply sort of the sense you get is at the ceremony. It is itself a plus 20 substance, plus 20 magic dagger.
Wow.
At the ceremony, um, should it be used to sacrifice an enemy of the Iron Empress, all those present at the ceremony get the ability to pass poison by touch 3 times a day for the
Goodness.
next 72 hours.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's a frightening ability.
And finally, there is a cup, wooden stem, mithril base, silver top, silver bowl, if you will.
Mm.
And again, it is specifically a ceremonial item. Drinking anything from the cup um, grants plus 20 to perception for 24 hours. Drinking blood of an enemy of the Iron Empress grants 40 extra exhaustion and 40 extra power points to a magic user.
Oh my god. I'm starting to see why people join this cult. This is pretty good items. Oh my gosh. Wow.
There's also there's gold and gems, silver, and so on
Going
in
to the
there.
temple.
Um, um, he says begin counting out the gold in stacks of 6, and the rest of you will share it. I
Okay.
want nothing of it, but leave about half of what remains for the temple.
Sure. Sounds fair.
Um, he tells you, he's calmed down now. He's thinking, he takes
Right.
one of the lists, folds it.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. I just realized.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, we're still keeping up the act that were from the temple. I almost forgot about that. So I don't know if Gabra said that to us like discreetly or
Right. I mean, everything he's done is in keeping with the temple.
right.
He's not broken character, although I guess there's
Right.
not character for him to break.
Right. He is kind of being himself right now.
Well, it's sort of his life, right?
Right. Right.
So um, he does tell you when Anlub comes in, stop counting
Right.
and just sort of hide the piles. Um, and so he said, so she comes out. He says that he summons Burlock in here. He says that we are taking her to the temple now. Why don't you meet us back? And he says, wait for me downstairs. They take him down. Tells you and Burlock, lock up the house after you're finished counting.
Mm-hmm.
Leave these items, the major items, on the bed, and we will meet you back at the inn as soon as we return.
All right.
So, yeah, there's a good pile of gold in there. You sort of get sick of counting at 420. So
Oh
you just put that in, right, and that'll be 70 to everybody. And um, and you sort of close the thing and leave the key in it, I guess, the key for the chest.
yeah.
And
But yeah, so keep everything in. So are we taking the chest with us then?
no, we're going to leave
Oh,
it.
sorry. You said okay. We'll leave the chest on.
And there are the 3 items sitting on the bed,
Yeah.
just sitting right there. They sure are sitting right there. Delicious.
Oh, my faith demands me. Yeah, I mean these are clearly evil. Would not want to be
They could
found.
be turned to good, the One Ring says. Don't you remember how the One Ring was talking to you the other day about, oh
No,
no,
actually.
this is the way to right wrongs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the magic, the new magic card. It seems pretty friendly. It seems pretty good.
That's right. So, um,
I mean, yeah, I volunteer. It's like I have a bag of holding. I'll just toss them in there, and
the items?
yeah.
No, remember to leave them on the bed for the
That's
temple.
the temple's going to come here and destroy them. Sorry, I thought he said we were going to.
No, no,
Misspoke.
no. They're going to leave them for them to find when they
Right.
come and seize all the property.
That's fair. So those are laid out. Count up the gold.
And how many of those items are going in your bag of holding? Did you say?
0.
I thought. Now I recall you saying
No, no, no. They just see me start doing this, and I'm like, what? What's going
it's
on?
like, what's your in your Karandrin world, Kevin? What is the NPC you enjoy playing the most? Temptation. That's
Oh my gosh. It's
uh,
the same with that robe I came across. Voshad's, they had this amazing robe, but it clearly just, meant for, intended for such an evil purpose.
right. So yeah. So Relic asks, he wasn't. Uh, he's like, what were these items?
I'd describe them to him, just by touching them, what I felt they should be used for.
Do you think that they'll miss that dagger?
Yes, these need to be destroyed. Any these existing gives power to the Iron Empress and their evil cause. So under no circumstances can we take any
Take
of these.
more than 3 or 4. I hear you.
3 at the maximum. Now, but I want to be stern. As stern as priests can be.
He says, okay. And so you guys go out. I guess you can go out the front door if you want. You
Yeah,
probably,
I was going to say if there's any. The servants went out, so I guess we're probably fine to go out
you're alone, yeah. Um, so go downstairs, and just you don't have a way of locking the door.
there. No.
Um,
I'm also
uh,
going to take off my robes at this point too, right? We don't want to be seen on the streets.
right.
And I don't know if my potion is still active either. The face change.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Um, so you guys, pass through an alley. You cancel the potion. It's fine. Um, Where's that? And so head back to the inn. Um, and I think that's a great time for a break, don't you?
I think so too. Woo.
Wow, crazy. Well, that worked out way too well.
Yeah. Well, when you have a bunch of powerful magic users.
Well, just competent magic users. There's only
Yeah.
one really powerful one among them.
Yeah.
Um, so all right, everybody, we're going to go refill our drinks and stretch our legs. We hope you do the same, and we'll be right back. And we'll see what the shakeout is of all this. So we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Stay tuned.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I've decided that Max smells. No, I'm kidding. Here he is, right there. I brought him back.
I will just speak through the PowerPoint and start talking.
That's right. Um, so, so the cult
Operation Success, yeah.
has taken a serious blow at the very least. Um, so, um, um, with the storming of Anne Leb's house. Anne Leb was the wealthy vintner, and she was certainly one of the early members of this. Um, so you guys are obviously exhausted, coming down off of the high. Um, um, you maneuver through the streets. Um, you are roll for me.
13. All right.
Yeah, interesting. So guys make it back to the Adventuring Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and knock and are let in. No one seems to be watching the guild, and you're still sort of keyed up for that, right?
Right. Someone to catch on to us.
And so you make it in, um, and I forget which of the sisters fell and which was the
It
caretaker.
was Nuilar who fell.
Okay, so
And
Felrune is
ironically, Felrune is the one who.
that's funny.
Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It was Felrune. Felrune
Okay,
slides down the roof, falls, hits the ground.
all right.
That's just confused as you were, apparently.
I don't know why I didn't put that on here. Um, all right, so the uh, so right, so Nular is waiting. Um, she's drinking coffee and um, brooding
Mm-hmm.
with her sour orc face, and she rises when you enter and looks behind you as you close the door. She's like, "Where are the others?"
I'll say that. So it's wait, who is with us? Or Gabris went along with
Gabrus and Haldry
Haldry.
went to take.
Right.
Um,
So I explained that they went to take Anleb, or they went to. I'll just say, are we in a room now? Or are we in the?
no, you're just in the common room.
Okay, so they went. They went to take our
They made a visit to the temple.
paid a visit to the temple. Is a good way to put it.
Um, so she gestures you quickly to the table, glances around. You guys explain how it went. She listens intently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she she's obviously gratified, and she nods.
Give her a share of gold too, 140 gold for her and her sister. So.
She's like, yeah. You tell her where it's from.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. These were some of the spoils meant to be, offerings for the Iron Empress.
Offsetting our cost.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I asked about Farun if she's doing okay, if she needs a healer or.
we had some herbs here, and we have some skill ourselves.
Okay.
it'll be sore for a couple of days, but it was uh, it was a serious fall though. She
Mm,
broke an arm and a leg.
wow.
Um,
I know how that feels.
it's
I
a
too
rough
I've broken a shoulder and a leg.
right. Um,
Uh,
um,
yeah, and I say we're just waiting for Gabrus and Aldry to get back. But otherwise, yeah, we are. Mission was a success.
do you think this will be the end of it, or do you think Gabrus will have other plans for us?
I mentioned that there are some key members of the cult, Brashla being one, um, that still are still out at large. So it's possible we'll pursue this thing to closure. I mentioned about the items too. The items that we found seemed very original, as if this perhaps the cult was small, but there is an actual force behind it, and where that's coming from.
It's not a pretender, someone just,
Right.
yeah.
It could be a serious, larger threat beyond um, Balabry.
There was so one of these people was like crazy, like very, very religious. That's weird. Where are they?
I know Ergberg. Can't say that name. Ergbrig was
Right,
our seamstress.
right. Um, but they, so they, look at each other. Roll for me.
95. There's another 95.
There's clearly interest in continuing. Like there's, nobody wants to just bail if like this is an opportunity. It's been interesting. It's been dog like, um, and so they feel like there's a sense that they're working well together, right? And you can see that on their faces that um, this is a team that works despite orcs and dwarves. Um, and you
Dwarves and humans, oh my.
That's right. You even hear Nular as an orc say, well, Gabrus thus far has been surprisingly true to his word. And you take that certainly as the dig that it's meant, but also that she recognizes that he at least have some degree of trustworthiness. Um, so, um, um, so you guys, just sort of stay up, um, drinking coffee and so on.
Biding our time.
Yeah, and maybe an hour later, um, uh, Gabrus and Brellock. No, Brellock was with you.
Right.
Gabrus and Haldry and Lorgresh return
Right.
with you. Return to you guys. Um, and look at that. And
It helps if the person you're bringing to turn into the temples openly admits to what they're doing.
exactly.
I know it's late, but
So they return. Um, roll for me.
77.
They're winded and overwrought. And they come in and they knock on the door. They kind of burst in. They're clearly disheveled, and um, Gabrus is still in his robes. No one else is, and he apologizes to the keep, the late night keep, and is like, I'm sorry, and slips him a gold. It's a rough night, my friend, and
Quinn, you missed the raid, but you're here in time for the after party.
Um, and they sit down. Everyone has noticed their state, and everyone's sort of half on their feet and looking for answers. He looks at you and Brellock and says, "Were you followed?"
I say, I didn't see anyone.
Brellock shakes his head. He says, "I didn't think to use my arts to check for that. I'm sorry." He says, "Well, someone was. Perhaps it was us." But they were there before us. So maybe they guessed our location, but I think it's more likely that Brashla had someone watching the house. Probably the same person who left the message.
Right.
I checked when we left, but I didn't see anyone. But they had someone waiting outside. Lordresh spotted them, and the constables will have a body to find tomorrow. She confessed openly, by the way, to the temples. "Oh, we have gold for you," and gestures to you. "We have gold."
The gold for oh yeah, I said it, I gave it to him.
But you have new people here. They're new.
Oh, right, that's true. True, yeah, then I'll hand out their portions. 10 gold for you and 10 gold for you.
That's right.
Why is there a lot left over? That's for
And this candlestick, this candelabra.
service fees. Math fees.
Um, we move the body, so it won't be associated with this place, but there's no way to know now what Brashla knows and doesn't know.
Yeah.
But little that will help him when the temple comes down on him.
That's true. I wonder if it's enough to run him out of town.
Depends on how many priests visit the brothel.
His brothels.
I mean,
no.
That's what it's
One of his brothels is a temple.
It's a certain type of worship. People do call out
Knock
to
out
God.
2 birds with 1 stone. Repent for your sins in the room next door.
So, a lot of explanations and so on, questions. Do you have any questions you want answered?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm very curious about the cult still, and I ask Danlib any other information she gave about nature of the cult and the Iron Empress. And
No, I insisted that she mention the name Ordia and that she included on the list that she gave the temple.
mm-hmm.
You should send word to that halfling that you met
Ooh.
and let him know that only to keep his ears open, that we think it's closed, but we don't want him pushing too hard and getting himself into trouble. And for anyone who's forgotten, that's a wealthy hobbit in town who was approached by the cult and refused entrance into their cult. But he was keen to kind of investigate and be his own little Scooby Gang, and that was he was not really qualified to do that. Obi-Wan Brashla was trying to take over the cult.
Right.
But
I mean, he probably would want the temples under his heel too. But cult was what he was.
The everyone's kind of worked up, but also coming down off of all that adrenaline, and so looking at your to-do list in regards to dates and so on, don't you have a meeting coming up with
Trinidas tomorrow morning?
Okay.
Yes, or afternoon. morning for tomorrow.
Okay.
Definitely stay in the inn for that, so I can kind of talk to them
Yeah. Okay.
private. But yeah, no, I guess so. The matter is closed. I ask, yeah, Bruce, if there's any more, anything else we need to take care of. I guess we'll just probably keep maybe after a week, at least keep in touch a bit to see what comes of it. Right? I don't want anyone. We start seeing spies around places or followed.
I'll stay in town, possibly at another inn,
Okay.
and we can regroup. He turns to the others, asks if they mind staying on for a day or so, and they're all on board. Um, so he says, make your backup weapons that we purchased recently and keep them on hand unless we need to again act as though we're um, active in that temple, in Astalin's temple. Um, so um, he rises and he say, "Thanks everyone." Um, uh, Lorgrash and Brelock, they split their gold and give 70 to Gabris,
Oh yeah.
and he tries to refuse, and they just leave it on the table and say, you know, no dwarf is going to leave gold on the table, and they walk off. So everyone, goes, and Gabris takes the money reluctantly, and then kind of offers it to you. He's like, "Do you have any need?"
No, you should keep it. You will need it.
You're like, "I've got the candelabra. I'm fine."
Yeah, I don't think Brees would. She
Um,
would take it, but also like no, he deserves it. So
and so, damn it, I cannot type. Um, and so, um, everyone goes up to bed. You've got the meeting in the morning um, with the with the Trinidas. So everyone crashes. Um, so let's do your 3 rolls. It is the next
all
day.
right,
What day does that make it now?
the 30th.
In May, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
May of 30. May is 31 day.
I don't
30
know.
days.
This is why I have a calendar app.
You should make the calendar in Karandrin just have 30 days in it.
That's right. All of them have 30 days.
There,
February, and
there's an Isaac Asimov book. I can't remember what Robots of Dawn, where it's a planet that's like it's 100-day month with a 10-day week and like 100 seconds in a minute, and they've just like made everything perfect.
yeah.
It's really funny. Um, anyway, so it's 65 and 21 and 15.
All right. Still, you have that general ache.
Right.
Um, no dreams of significance, which you're sort of very glad of. A dreamless sleep, given that the
Yeah.
Iron Empress apparently has reached out to you.
Right.
Um, so um, the let me hop down. Hop. I have trimmed out these bad boys. So you wake up at a normal hour, which means, of course, you're tired because it was a late night for you. So you wake up, um, the sun is fully in the sky, so not the crack of dawn, but you could tell you need more rest. The um, and you eat, 3 copper for a meal, and they, you just go downstairs having, um, just brush back your hair. You get a quick bite, and you figure you need to go back up to the room so that they can track you down someplace private.
Right.
Lots of people in today. None of your companions are up yet. Um, um, and so you just go back up to your room
Hmm.
and kind of just sort of prop up on the bed. You kind of slip in and out. Um,
Catch a few more Z's and wait for my alarm.
and there's a green light upon your face as the flower people open a portal from their realm and float in uh, their, uh, their vine-like appendages, their enormous flower head, um, and they arrive with a Trinidos, the tiny deer folk, riding on them. The Trinidos alight from the flower people and land on your knee. And they say, "Daughter of man, you have touched dark objects since last we met.
I
Are you
say,
well?"
I say I am. I didn't realize they left such an impression on me.
To those who can sense it, but it will fade in time. Do not fear.
Good, yeah.
Are you well, though?
For the most part, I'd say I'm still under the influence of a necromantic magic, but able to at least
Its touch is
function.
still upon you.
Yeah, but I'm still able to function fine, and there are powers trying to help me.
It is much weakened, this force on you.
Oh, okay. And I think I last saw them.
It's close to a week, you think?
I've got the day here. Yeah, on the 23rd. So it's been a full week, and the power's been okay.
We have little to report. The Philistine complain of a lack of progress with the um, the evil being in the vetch. They suspect that it is a deliberate delay,
Mm.
and things are still very tense with Avrodal. I don't know if I have a caption for Avro. There we go. There's who Avrodal is. Um, there is less talk, however, of the Philistine trying to destroy all of the people of the Vetch.
Right.
There is some sense that it may, and I've lost his name. I'll have his name down among my.
Kelbrick?
There you go. That's the evil force in the Vetch, right?
Right.
That,
That's the
yeah.
wizard that they asked, to assist them.
The thought is that there may be loved ones or business connections of Kelbricks among the tiny communities.
Interesting. Okay.
So that decision seems to be less on their mind. But they have refused another effort by Avrodal to meet with them. Has there been any sign of the return of Verilag or any other evil influence?
No, not of Verilag. Not. Um, but I do mention. I can't remember if I mentioned this to them already, but I'll mention it now. That I have heard that. I think. Wait, was it them who told me that Kralum is still watching me? And
No, it was that strange being that you helped.
oh, right. This strange being in the forest. Yeah, noticed that dark powers watching. That probably did happen last week. So I do mention that the demon that we were able to banish, who then um, stripped Verilag of her powers. That demon is still watching me. I think as a as it out for me. Is not happy that I'm still alive. Been being as wary as I can, but I haven't seen any direct signs, of Crowley acting.
Well, in times of great need, do not forget our sanctuary is open to you and is still prepared for you.
All right.
It would take considerable power to enter our sanctuary, and it would perhaps shield you from his eyes for a while.
Thank you for offering, and I will keep that in mind. But
When should we meet?
Thing to bring up.
Did you want to bring up that being that gave you that information?
Oh, sure. That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Or the slave hunters you met?
Sure. Yeah. I'll mention both of those things to them. So starting off with the strange humanoid with antlers, dressed in fine clothing, that used a rod to create a tree that was a portal, which they climbed through. Heard of that creature before, or know what they might be?
We have met one in the vetch. Oh, many centuries ago.
Hmm.
We helped them return home. They seemed kind, although we could not communicate fully with them. The others, these beings with the heads of metal dogs,
Hmm.
we do not know of these.
Okay.
When should we meet again?
We can do another week, so I'm going to look at an actual calendar and see.
I know, right?
Yeah, May does have 30.
We should put a calendar on the website for each. If we do
Right,
another,
we really should, right?
and like that's Brice's calendar, and then as our audience grows, they can begin chiming in on the from the website. Look, it's right here on the website. Why doesn't Brice check the website?
Yeah, just create like an actual like Google like calendar
Right.
page. Okay, so yeah, I say on 6th of June we can meet again in the morning, unless you have any urgent news.
Then yeah, seek me out. So they say very well in the morning again. Then, and they drift back. They wish you well. They tell you again to be cautious with the curse that is upon you.
Mm-hmm.
And they walk through the portal.
I can't wait for it to be June 6th and I roll a 66 whenever I take a critical.
That's right. That'll kill you. Is there anything else you want to do? Should we end it early tonight?
I think it's a good time to end it, as it's
okay.
Neatly wrapped up.
Yeah.
Next time, we might start preparing for our trip to. I can't remember the name of the city. The ruins beneath that city. Kind
Oh,
of
right, Pasadarius, and go through
Darius, right? Who start with a P.
yeah,
Yeah,
go through the
start doing some more preparations for that.
yeah, the that's going to be very interesting. That, if people have forgotten, that's him seeking out information on his own cult about their efforts to um, restore or possibly grant magic abilities to everyone, and he learned some things about that. But we'll do a fuller recap of that as the need arises. So we'll soon have a new. We'll soon have a new calendar up for all of our April dates. That's coming very soon. So that's right. You're small. You're insignificant. So, but thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next Thursday with a stream. I can tell you that April will be all Wednesdays. April is all Wednesdays, but it's every Wednesday in April. So you can jot that down. But like I said, we'll have it posted on the website soon. So thanks again for everything, for chiming in on the chat, for watching us after the fact. We really appreciate it. If you think we're doing a good job, hey, hop to donorbox.org there. Keep us streaming and send us a little love. If you're excited about having Max around like I am, then hop to his YouTube channel where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks in video games. He's got his own channel there. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific art for Brise's character that we use every stream. You can find more of their work at artstation.com/Tortolua. And I've written a novel called A Shore Too Far, and I hope you go find it on Amazon and buy a million copies of it because I think it's just great. So that's all for me. Max, why don't you say goodbye to these lovely people?
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. Sorry, Quinn, we are ending a little early, but hey, if you want a refund, you can mail official request and a check with $10 to our address,
And
and
we will refund $5.
we'll refund your $0 that
That's
you
right.
spent. But yeah, have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
That's right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.